Welcome to the Dare to Dream podcast, a podcast where we dive into the lives of creators, storytellers, and dreamers. We've always had very creative people on this podcast series, but today I have somebody special. I'm actually sitting on the host seat and I have somebody from the brand to sit in front of me and talk about the vision and mission of what Lumix sees in the near future. In today's episode, we have with us Mr. Vijay San, who is the Chief Business Officer at Panasonic India and is also now heading Lumix in India. So let's dive into his life and what he holds as a vision for the creator community. Welcome to the podcast, sir. Yeah, how did it start?
Look, I'll tell you, how it started was like, so I am a graduate from NIT Allahabad. So I've done my engineering in electronics and communication from there. And so while I was doing engineering, frankly speaking, I always had a passion to meet people, and kind of selling was something which came naturally to me, right? So even after completing my engineering, I didn't get into the technical, the pure technical thing. And I joined a company called Ramco Systems, and this company was into distribution and system integration of products.
And
All
software
electronics.
Yes. I remember my elder cousin brother, he started his first job as an engineer in Ramco.
In Ramco.
That is why
so
I know
Ramco had
Ramco.
two businesses. They had a software business and they had a data communication business.
Okay.
So I was in the data communication business because I was an electronics engineer, right? So from that perspective, I've gotten over there. So I did that for a couple of years, then moved into a company called Tyco Electronics. This company was into structured cabling. Spending some time over there, I think 5 years, 6 years over there. Then I moved to Cisco Systems. Cisco was into routing, switching.
I did
wireless.
my internship with Cisco.
Oh, you did your internship.
College internship.
Okay.
2 months I spent with Cisco. That time I used to go to Nehru Place.
Okay. So okay, that was the office was there at that point. Correct. Sudhi Narang would have been there.
I think I don't even remember.
Long time
की तरफ से
बहुत दूर, बहुत लंबा.
2000 and I think
2001, correct.
2001.
Yes. So I joined Cisco in 2007 and I was there till 2012. Then I started the B2B business for Samsung in India.
Oh,
so Samsung's mobile B2B business.
That Samsung had launched mobile phones.
Yes. And they wanted to get into the B2B space. So that's when I got into Samsung. I created a team for them I was there for 5 years. And then came to Panasonic. So it's been close to 9+ years now at Panasonic.
Lovely.
Within Panasonic also, we started from SSD, which is a B2B arm of Panasonic. And now the home appliances, SARC business. So minus air conditioning, rest all businesses.
So you're now juggling between B2B and B2C both?
Oh, yes, kind of. I think, generally, you have very competent teams under you who manage that business. So I don't think there's too much of a load as such at my level. So
how was the shift from a Korean company to a Japanese company? Was the culture very different or very similar?
Yeah, culturally, I think there's a big difference, right? I mean, Koreans are quick to take decisions. They are a little comparatively hard taskmasters. But if you work for Cisco, then there is no company on earth which can really push you beyond that, right? You're kind of a completely broken guy. Cisco, it works on a culture where you work on Monday to Friday, right? You commit a certain business for 5 days and then you're supposed to achieve that number. So you can imagine the kind of pressure those guys work under.
Weekly pressure,
right? And this continues. So I was there for 5 years. So multiply that by 52 and so many weeks of pressure, right? So that is what I was doing there. So when I joined Samsung, there was no pressure at all. Although everybody said, oh, it's a high pressure business. And now at Panasonic is comparatively, Japanese have their own way of working. They are more, precise about whatever they do. And obviously, that's kind of good and bad. Good in the sense that whatever they do, they make sure they are best at it.
Yes.
Bad in the sense that they're very slow to change.
I agree. Been a consumer of Panasonic camera for last 6 years now. More than 6 years, I think 8 years. 2017, I bought my first Lumix camera.
Okay.
To where we are today, and that whole integration, I completely agree. Decision making is very slow.
Very slow. Yeah. So because it's not only about decision making; it's about the processes. If you look at the process under which Japanese work, they will never skip a process.
Yeah.
So and that is the reason the quality of Japanese products is the best. The reason is that until unless they ensure that each and every screw is in place and all processes are followed, they'll not go to the next step.
Nice.
So that takes time. I don't think it's more of a decision making. I think it's many more processes inbuilt into their systems which delay the final product.
So before we go into the whole, business side of everything, the reason I got you here, and this is very rare that, somebody from the brand is sitting as a guest and answering questions what me as a consumer has been thinking about, talking about, because, and especially, what I've seen in the industry, especially our industry, that senior management rarely comes in front of the camera, or they talk to the consumer directly, or they interact with the consumer directly, and which I feel at Panasonic, which is very different. At Panasonic, even working with Panasonic for the last 6-7 years, we felt that one-on-one connection, the relationship that Panasonic has been building with their end user is fantastic. And thank you for coming here today and opening yourself to the community. And the idea behind the Dare to Dream podcast is that we want the community to grow and understand, yes, there are people sitting behind the camera and who are looking at it. So we want to know how over the years have you evolved, and what does your typical working day look like when you're managing so many businesses? How do you do that?
Okay, so I think people at my level, it's very important that we have a highly trusting team around us, right? It's very important. Now, if a person at my level wants to manage everything on his own, or if he thinks that he can do a micromanagement, I think he'll go dramatically wrong. That's not possible.
Very true.
Not possible. Which means that how do you manage business in that case? So I think it's very important for leaders like us to create teams around them who are capable enough to manage the business on their own. And at my level, I think it is more important that I have a vision for the teams. I keep on reinforcing that vision onto the teams and ensure that whatever is required to turn that into reality is actually provided to the teams.
Got it.
So that is what I do. So I don't think I am on the ground really doing a micromanagement that I leave to the teams. I think I have a fairly capable managers with me, and they are the ones who really drive it. So idea is that if you trust in something and if your team thinks that this is something which is trustworthy and they align with you, then it becomes a successful combination.
Very
That's
nice.
what it is.
So how are there any hobbies that you have that keep you going other than business? Because looking at the career curves that I've just heard, I feel that you would be the busiest person that I know. But you look so chill, you look so relaxed at the same time. Because half of the time we see leadership always on the phone, contacting people, asking for targets, and like you said, you've delegated it in such a way, but there are teams managing. So how does your typical day of business to personal life look like?
I think it's been many years now, and initially when I was young and probably a manager or a middle manager, I used to think that maybe I am not doing the right things because I never found myself busy, and I saw my peers doing a lot of stuff, and then I reached the next level. Still that thing was same, and now I think I'm a senior manager and nothing's changed still. So either I'm doing all the right things or there is something dramatically wrong with me. But given that people around me are happy, I would assume that I'm doing the right set of things. So typically what I would do is that during the day I would kind of look at the different businesses that I have and certain priorities that they have, whether they've been followed or not. Maybe do a little bit of indulgence into things which need immediate priority, and then leave the remaining stuff for managers to manage.
Nice.
So not much that I do. I don't unnecessarily interfere in business. So I would like to have teams which are trustworthy, and thankfully for me, I've got managers who've been doing a good job.
Amazing. So at the moment, what are the divisions that you're handling with Panasonic?
So primarily within Panasonic India, one is obviously the entire B2B business of communication that we have, which encompasses your display business, which is like large format displays, LEDs, indoor, outdoor LEDs displays. Then we have projector business, Then I manage the security camera business, which basically includes all your cameras and video management systems. Then we have another business which is into ruggedized computers and handhelds, tough
Yeah,
books,
the tough books.
the
Yeah.
tough books, right?
Which I think goes to the defense also.
That goes to defense. Yes, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
PCRs over here use
Mm-hmm.
our those devices on the dashboard. Apart from that, we have video door phones and telephones. This is
Nice.
part of the B2B business that we have. And then the broadcasting business, that the cameras that goes into studios and
The bigger format
the bigger
cameras,
format
the
cameras,
Vericams
the
and
Vericams and all. Yes. Apart from that, now I'm supposed to handle home appliances business, which is your microwave ovens, audio business, then imaging business, the Lumix range of products. Then apart from this, what else? Vacuum cleaners and the new set of products that we would be handling. Then leaving India, I'm also supposed to manage the business in the SAARC region. So Sri Lanka, Maldives,
Okay,
Nepal,
nice.
Bangladesh, anything and everything that happens in that territory.
Okay.
So this is the total profile that I have right now.
That's a huge, I mean,
Yeah,
if I look at it, it's a huge variation of
many
industries.
different businesses. Correct.
So coming from an engineering background and handling, like being part of so many brands like Cisco, Samsung, and that to the communication side and the different technical sides of it.
Yeah.
Now you're handling the imaging side where you've been doing broadcast, but now more of a creator-centric storytelling format also. How is that adding to your portfolio in a way that how are you able to manage and shift your mind from a complete technical thing to now a little bit of aesthetic and storytelling also?
Sure. So look, if you look at my journey, it started from system integration, went into structured cabling, then routing, switching, wireless business. From there, it went into mobile and mobile applications. Then, the range of products that I handle over here. Once you've handled such a bouquet of products, it gives you a 360-degree view to the overall business.
Yeah.
One, you get to understand that what is it that customers generally want. And that requirement of customers is never unidimensional, right? It's always multidimensional. And over a period of time, you start understanding that. Now, if you look at the content creation today, right? I mean, there are so many content creators across India. Not India, across globe also, right? The beauty of the entire story is that if you have a mobile phone, you can create anything.
Yeah, the creator economy has literally grown the last 5 years.
Yes.
From homemakers to even CEO, CXO levels have started creating content.
Creating content, right? Now, why do people do that? I mean, because I think at some point in time, everybody wants to give vent to their inner feelings, right? And content creation is something that allows you to do that, correct? Now, if you understand this basic need of human beings to, create something and to communicate with the world, their inner world, then you've actually understood the crux of the business.
Nice.
That's something very important, right? Now, whether it is product or the content that you are creating, you would actually, but the moment you start looking at business from that standpoint, I think your whole paradigm kind of shifts, right? So now you're not looking at a point product, neither are you looking at the content that is getting created. You're looking at what is behind it, correct? So this is something that we've done over the years, whether it was understanding a customer's requirement for routing and switching, or was it its requirement for structured cabling. The intent has always been the same for me. I never look at what the customer wants as a product. I always look at what his inner requirement from that particular product is. That has helped us, and then you create a solution which actually meets his requirement. So today, if I look at a product on one side, which is a Lumix product, and the creator on the other side, the guy who's creating the content, my idea would always be that, we need to give him a device that helps him articulate his inner feelings in the best possible manner.
Perfect.
Right. So whether it is a Lumix and all our communication moving forward would also be the same.
Nice.
Right. We will never talk about a point product. We would talk about what is it that you do with this product and how do we help you in doing that in the best, simplest manner. So that would be the approach, while we create our products or when we go to the market.
So when we look at Lumix, right now there are so many bigger players in the market. You have bigger brands who've kind of captured a segment of the market where Lumix is still kind of, I would say, it has entered now with the latest cameras that have come up. Uh, Being part of a Japanese company, like you said, decisions are slower and there are systems that are to be followed. How do you structure the need-based demand that is coming from the industry, and how do you feel ki Lumix would be able to cater that with your leadership in charge now? Because I feel with you coming in charge, there's a positive change, and that positive change, the first thing I feel that is coming from, because I'm a consumer at the end as well, is faster decision making in some parts of the business.
Sure.
So how do you feel you're changing the whole system within Panasonic to cater to the Lumix market and grow that?
Okay. Look, as I said, the product will take its own time.
Yeah.
Right. That will not change because it's something which is happening in Japan. Important is that how do we add value to that entire value chain over here in India, right? I think something good that's been done over the years is that we've been talking to a lot of DOPs, we've been talking to a lot of content creators, we've been talking to a lot of people who actually deliver these products to the end customers, and a kind of community is getting created.
Of course.
I would want that this community to become a little more structured and larger, right? Now, you would not know when, generally what happens is, look, I'll tell you, the way businesses generally move up the value chain. Initially, you would have a lot of people doing things in silos. Let's go and connect this to something which has happened in the past. For example, if we go back, and because you said that you were in class 6 in 1996, I would assume that 4 years before that, 92, the disbursement of all the content would be happening through some local area provider through dish cable TV, right?
Cable TV. Or Doordarshan for that matter.
Right. I mean, the moment cable TV came in, every area had its own cable operator.
Of course.
Right. And then over a period of time, that started converging. And finally, there was City Cable who took over everything, and they were the ones who were dispersing it, right? And that was a time when the cost of the entire thing came down, and second was the manageability also went up, and customer satisfaction went up.
Yes.
So today, I think if we were to correlate that with the content creators right now, I think we have an opportunity where we can bring this community together, create a larger community, and show them the benefits of coming together. A benefit could be both in terms of, the knowledge sharing that this community can do with each other. And second could be opening up of a lot of opportunities which this community can give to each other.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Now, this would be a big differentiator compared to what other people are not doing. So from my perspective, I would want a Lumix community, which people have been using a product for last, let's say, 8, 10, 12 years. If we can get them all together, tied into a single community, and probably over a period of time ensure that they actually feel like a family and they contribute to each other, that big differentiation would be good enough for us to cover up the shortcoming that comes in because of the product coming in late.
Of course.
Right? So I think these kind of differentiations can be created over a period of time, and I would definitely want to see that at some point in time we have a community of 10,000 people or more, wherein there is an exchange of ideas, and people understand the benefits of getting together, and if possible, that creates even more work opportunities for people.
Yeah, because I think that would lead to further better collaborations in the industry, which are missing right now.
Which is missing right now.
Even if I am connected to, let's say, 5 or 6 Lumix creators in India, I don't think I've ever done a project with maybe more than 2 of them.
One is that. Another thing, think of it, Lumix is a global product, right? So, for example, yesterday I was talking to, Panasonic Brazil, very similar kind of setup like India, right? There also people would want to, kind of have cross-border opportunities coming up for them. So you have Japan, you've got US, you've got Latin America, you've got India, China, so many places, right? If we are able to create communities over here and at a larger level, maybe another 5-10 years down the line, Lumix community, which is worldwide, that would be a huge differentiator throwing up hundreds of opportunities for everybody in all parts of the globe.
Very true, very true. So Panasonic is also a Japanese company. There are other brands which are Japanese in the camera industry. But we see that they keep launching products very regularly, right? I mean, there are at times even we wonder why are they launching a product. You have certain values, you have certain leadership that is happening in your organization. How do you see that as evolving now with the current times, and where do you think that Lumix leadership or Panasonic leadership and you being part of that leadership is taking the brand ahead?
Okay, so you see, what happens is that a lot of times, because I'm not doing innovation to an extent that it is required, I may keep on coming up with smaller products with little differences every now and then. But look at Lumix, from a DSLR to a mirrorless camera, and then now you have a unisensor camera on top of it. These are big changes that we've brought in. So we don't intend to make small changes every now and then. You can do that. That's very easy. At times it could be nothing but just an aesthetic change that you're doing with a little change in the way the camera operates. But that seems to be a new lineup of product which has come out. I think at Panasonic, the idea is always to create something after listening to our customers and to give them something which is worthwhile.
Yeah.
So which in a way is good and bad. Good that, whenever there is a new lineup which comes, it comes with a huge differentiation. Bad because then, you don't show the world that every 6 months we've got something new to show to you, right?
So I completely agree. Because I still remember my first collaboration with Lumix was I went to Photokina, Germany for the S1 launch. And at that time we just saw the S1, we never had it with us. We always knew there was a Leica collaboration, and Leica had launched their Leica S at that time. So the S1 for me was, oh, this is just like Leica, because I'd used the Leica.
Correct.
Now, after so many years, that was back 2018, and now 2025, we have the S1 Mark II. I completely agree that the change and the shift that has happened in technology is so huge that a user like me who still has the S1 from 7 years ago can certify that what is now is current and long lasting.
Yes.
And so with the legacy that Panasonic has had and the current, the cost breakers that are happening in the market, I still have a camera that is 5 years old, 6 years old, which works perfectly. How do you think Lumix is or will be able to maintain that? If I buy a camera today, it will last for the next 5-6 years?
Two things over here. First of all, let's look at the credibility and the trust that comes along with the Lumix brand. Now, this is something that we've maintained for so many years. Yeah. So there is absolutely no reason to even doubt that, we would falter on that. So that continues, right? But at the same time, we also need to realize that the world is no more the same it was in 2010. Yeah?
Very true.
Things change really fast. You don't know when something new comes up. Nobody had thought that AI would catch up the way it has caught up in last 5 years, right? Nobody knew that, right? When it first came up, it was just a translator of certain things, or, maybe a chat GPT, which was doing a better job.
And maybe a replacement to a search engine.
Yes, just a replacement. That is the way people were looking at it, right? Today, we are talking about, new humanoids who would be completely AI enabled and they'll do everything possible. And this too in a short span of 5 years.
Yes.
So for me to sit down over here and say that nothing's going to change in 5 years on Lumix would not be a right statement to make, because things can. But do we see it right now? The answer is no, right? I mean, today when we've come up with the new range of products, they definitely will take care of the requirements which would be there in foreseeable future. But yes, if things change and something really new and dramatic comes up, I think we've got people sitting back in Japan to relook at it and probably create some new product.
And because see, what I've seen in the past, and of course, being part of the community, I still know people who still own a GH4, which was the first mirrorless that came with the 4K and all of that. And it still works fine.
Yeah.
I have a GH5S, which I'm using for game streaming in today's day and age, because it works fine.
Yeah.
So what I want to understand is, will Lumix ever reduce the quality because of price wars, or we still want to see those sustainable products?
No. So come what may, and I think if you look at Japanese companies, they've actually come out of a lot of businesses just because of this reason.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses have closed down. I would not want to really talk about it because that is painful. But fact of the matter is that no matter how much you nudge them to kind of compromise on quality because of the competition which is there in the market, and that's what competition is doing, they'll not do it. So one thing is absolutely clear, that Japanese would close down a business rather than compromise on quality. So that would not happen. So if Lumix is a brand that is associated with trust and confidence of the users, it will continue to be the same. Come what may. They may close down a business, but they'll not compromise on the quality.
Yeah, because we have a very loyal following.
Yeah.
We have a community who, because I have this saying, who once uses a Lumix never goes back.
Never.
Because I've been teaching so many kids over the years, and for the last 5 years, the amount of students that I've taught, every single one of them has bought a camera.
Right.
They bought a Lumix.
Yeah.
They've upgraded every time. Every time a new camera comes out, they call me, sir, can we, replace our old one? Because the old one still works perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
So, you coming from a broadcast segment in the company itself and coming into a very creator-centric segment, will we ever see a combination of both?
Oh, wow. So let me.
This is a very personal thing from me.
Yeah.
Very personal thing for me, because we have seen something similar with the BS1H, which I call a prosumer cinema grade camera, Netflix approved, beautiful sensor and everything.
So let me tell you that we are on the way of doing that, and within Panasonic also. So both Pro AV and Lumix, they've kind of combined now.
Nice.
So starting April next financial year, that's going to be a single company.
Oh, beautiful.
So the idea behind that is that we would want to address the segments which have not been addressed in the past and create some new products. So that may take a little bit of time, but I think now that the teams would be under a single leadership, so probably the first step is understand the customer's requirement. And second would be to create products which basically cater to this kind of customer profile that we have. So we've already started that. There is a very strong internal discussion which is already underway. And I think it's just a matter of time before we kind of converge the two and start addressing the customers with both Lumix as well as a Pro AV range of products.
Very nice. So I think that is the gap that needs to be filled at the moment, because I still remember with the Vericam being there. Vericam was the first camera which was OTT approved. Netflix still has it on their list, but it wasn't accessible. One being the price point, second being availability, because of it being expensive, even rental houses wouldn't take it, and a consumer will never think of like, right, if I talk to the community, or if I do workshops, if I have 100 people sitting in the workshop and I mention Vericam, half of them will be like, what technology are you talking about?
Correct.
But at the same time, I think the S1H, the BS1H were the first Netflix approved mirrorless cameras in that category of cameras. And with this decision of yours, I feel that gap will be bridged.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
But do you feel that our creator economy, which has grown so much, I mean, I personally feel जो एक लाइन बोली जाती है ना, हर गली नुक्कड़ में एक फोटोग्राफर, एक क्रिएटर, एक वीडियोग्राफर अब मिलता है. They're either creating content using phones or they're moving to professional gear. How accessible is the world of cinema or the international market going to be with Lumix now, introducing products in every sector?
Look, the idea behind that is this only, right? I mean, at some point in time, how do you increase your base of customers, right? I mean, till now, we have few identified, customers or customer segments where we are going. At some point in time, we will have to create certain structures which would allow, a content creator maybe in some corner of the city to access these kind of products, right? So right now, is there a straight answer about a product coming out through which this can be addressed? The answer would be a little grayish. You see, today also, what kind of a product do we use to create a good content? Generally, an iPhone, which would cost you around $1.5 lakh.
Sometimes more than that.
Sometimes more than that, right?
A camera would be cheaper.
So camera would be cheaper, right? So actually, if you see, there is definitely a very sweet spot where you can actually start creating cameras only for the creators, right? I mean, a creator's camera.
Like the S9.
Yeah, like the S9, right?
Yeah.
So products are getting created, and you will see that this will evolve over a period of time. Even more cameras would come in, and maybe with very tailored kind of specifications only for the content creators. So this market is today in a very high flux.
Yeah.
And as we move forward, I'm sure this will evolve, and you'll have more products to kind of cater to this segment.
And moving away from cameras, I've seen Lumix also developing software. And the two apps that recently came out, which have literally fascinated anybody. I have used that app in front of the Lumix Lab app and the Lumix Flow app. Do you think that being a camera tech company, getting into software and again involving AI into that with the Magic LUT features that we have and all those kind of things, how is Lumix like developing itself to become more accessible?
Look, you will have more and more such applications coming out as we move forward. The two things I think the way I look at it is that one, the native apps that we would create for these cameras themselves, and second is collaboration with certain large software companies to create this for us. I would rather say that it's better to collaborate with some specific software companies, introduce them to the Lumix world, and let them do something for us. And I'm sure at Japan they would be doing it. I mean, I've still not had a chance to go and meet the Lumix team, although I've kind of met them a lot of times on Teams. But once I get to meet them personally, obviously, they would then probably open up and let me know what they're doing on the front. But as you said, these two apps are wonderful, and everybody gets fascinated with them. And I'm sure there is a lot of other things which are in the offing.
Okay.
Content creation, the way it has kind of exploded globally, nobody had thought that it will happen like this, right? I mean, even Pakistanis are making content and beautiful content.
They made the first animated film.
Yeah.
And such a beautiful film. The glass.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful film.
So I'm saying that, if they can do it, that also shows that anybody can do it. And hence, you can imagine the kind of market that we are talking about, right? So I don't think anybody would want to lose out on that market, and there would definitely be something which is in the offing. I'm not privy to it right now, but I'm sure with the first two apps being out, and I know that they're also collaborating with a lot of third-party applications which would be integrated onto these cameras. A lot is being done, but something specific to just the content creators, I'm not aware of it, but let me come back to you on that.
So, talking about innovation, I feel Lumix is the only first brand which has always collaborated with giants to come up with something for the end users. Like Leica for lenses, always for imaging. Leica has always been known for that, and I've been using Leica glass for all my cameras for ages, produced by Panasonic in collaboration with Panasonic. It's been beautiful. And now RE, with the RE Lock C3 kicking in. Would Panasonic be a bridge between the indie filmmakers and the professional filmmakers, and are we kind of closing that gap now? Because like you said, the creator economy has exploded. Everybody's becoming a creator. Filmmaking is becoming expensive to distribute but easier to produce.
Right.
So how do you think Lumix plays now an integral role with collaborations with giants like RE in the industry? So,
look, they've already started doing it. Right? Important is the acceptability and whether you're able to break into that ecosystem or not. Not easy, right? Because I think more than the technology, that's got more to do with the infrastructure deployment that has already happened over there, right? Would they really allow you to create something unless the market forces them to do it, right? If the market forces it, nobody can change it, right? You command, what happens in the market.
Very true.
Right? That's a different issue altogether. But would they be really receptive about making those changes immediately? The answer is no. Nobody would do that, right? Nobody would want to allow competition to creep in, because if they do it, and if they are on the front run, that basically means that they are now opening the entire industry up to a lot of other people.
Which is true.
Yeah, no, which is true. But I'm saying, would you be the first one to do it, or would you have resistance to it? And once it is inevitable, you kind of say, okay, let's do it. Yeah. So it's about that, right? I mean, right now, from a tech standpoint, I think we'll do everything possible to bridge that gap. But equally, I'm sure that the industry would kind of push it back to the best possible, ability. And it's not only about Indian industry; it's about industries across the globe.
Yeah,
huge amount of investments have happened on basic technologies over the years, and if you kind of make it so simple, that's a big threat to people who invested.
I completely agree, because when the Arilog C3 came out in the GH7, being micro four thirds, and I introduced it to big DOPs, they had nothing to say about the color. The only thing they would say, "Nahin, it's a small sensor. It wouldn't work in a real-time scenario. Are you pitting it against an RE? Full frame se kaise kaam karega? Low light mein kaise kaam karega? Lens options kitne hain?"
So they'll give you 100 reasons not to use it, right?
And then you came up with the full frame version with the S1 Mark II launching the Arilog C3. And recently we tested it going against the RE Alexa Mini and the RE Alexa LF, and a colorist, an experienced colorist, could not tell the difference.
Yep.
He had that capability.
Correct.
So yes, there are pushbacks, but I feel that
market will get its way out. Yeah.
But at the same time, we are in a market, जिसको हम कहते हैं ना भेड़चाल वाली industry, where if 10 people are buying a brand, the 11th would buy the same
default,
same brand. And there are two reasons behind it. One reason is ki accessibility to rentals and accessibility to spares. If one brand is big, it is easier to access rentals. But if a smaller brand is doing better, people wouldn't pick it up because of that accessibility. How are we changing that mindset, or how is Lumix planning to change that mindset of people just going for something for the sake of going for it and not picking up the right thing?
Look, I'll tell you, when I talked about communities, the Lumix community, this is what is going to make a big difference. Today, when you talk about community, it is more of content creators or, single camera users.
Yeah.
Then there is another community of people who are using Pro AV cameras, correct? Now, if these are two brought together, and if in case now you start using, cross this thing, then your issue of rentals and of spare parts and all this goes off.
Of course.
Right? The moment I have this kind of a large community wherein a set of people are taking care of the spares, there are a set of people who are into rental business, set of people who are into, single-use cameras, then the whole thing changes, right? That's very important. Do I have, 1,000, 10,000 people who are on the same platform, talking about the same product and kind of taking care of issues which are coming up for different set of people? If I have that, then my responsibility alone as an OEM goes off.
Yeah,
I would be there in the back to support the entire thing, but within the community, there would be a lot of cross collaboration.
Of course.
So that is what we are looking at, and that is what will make a difference. So next 2 to 3 years, you will see a huge amount of effort going in that direction.
It's really good to hear that, because being part of the Lumix ecosystem for so many years, and of course being part of other brand ecosystems also, what we've seen is that brands usually only concentrate on sales and not communities.
Yes.
Right. And coming from you, we feel that yes, there is a positive change that Lumix users would feel coming up in terms of support.
We have a strong intent, and with me in the leadership, I will definitely push that.
Lovely. And sir, this podcast is called Dare to Dream, and we've heard that recently that you have evolved on this podcast. You've told us about how you have evolved from starting where to where you are now to a leadership position. What is the core leadership preview that you are carrying right now that will take Lumix in the future?
I think, as I said, you want to do something big, you would not be able to do it alone. To a certain extent, no matter how good you are, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm saying anybody, everybody has his own limitations, right? And one person cannot be good as 10 or 20 people, right? Everybody has his own merits and demerits. So it's always better, if you really want to dream big and if you really want to make a big difference for a particular brand or a product, you need to have a goal which is highly collaborative in nature and involves huge amount of people, right? And that is where, when I said community is important, that's what I feel, that when you think big, it should not be that you are the sole beneficiary of whatever comes out. If you're looking at an outcome which benefits huge amount of people, I think it creates a huge differentiation for competition, which he'll not be able to manage. And at the same time, it does good for the entire community. So for Lumix, what I would want is that we should have a very differentiated approach in the market, where we are not just selling a product or the functionality of the product, but what we are selling is careers. We are selling cross collaboration, we are selling ease of use, we are selling optimization of the resources. So that is what we would want to do, and that is where I think the way I would want to see Lumix as, probably if I'm able to drive this in the next 3 to 4 years, that is where I would want to see Lumix as a brand.
That's a beautiful, vision to have, and kind of bringing the community together. Before I kind of go towards the more day to dream side of it, one last thing I want to ask you in regards to this is, skilling up has been very important in our industry. If you don't skill up, you don't grow in the industry. Where is Lumix looking at itself in skilling up its users, or other people, part of other brand users also at the same time, because we want the community as the filmmakers, photographers, creators community to grow. How is Lumix going to be a part of that?
Scaling up is very critical. The end of the day, these are all tech products, and a user may have his limitation in understanding the features of the product and the optimal utilization of the same, right? So as I said, that one, from our side, we would do everything possible to ensure that whosoever can be skilled is skilled. But as I said, when I talked about the community and I said, there'll be different kind of people doing different things. Probably at some point in time, we need to create a set of people who are trainers, right? And we should be like, people who train the trainers, and trainers further go ahead and train the community.
Yeah.
So this is something which will get created.
Nice.
And this is very important. It's not that this is something unique we are doing over here. A lot of large organizations have this program where they have a train to trainer program, right? The OEM would understand the nuances and the nitty-gritties of the product in depth, and then they will go and talk to the technical guys, train people over there, and then those people further go and train the community. So very critical piece of business, and I think we'll take that very seriously. Maybe next year we'll have some kind of a calendar around it, so that we put a number to it. Let's say if 100 people have to be trained who are real trainers, we will create a calendar around it and follow up with that calendar to ensure that we have that many people who are properly and fully trained and certified by Lumix, some kind of a certification kind of a thing, and they're handed over to them. They feel good that they understand the product in and out, and from our standpoint, we have ambassadors in the field who go and talk about our products.
Lovely.
To do that.
And with the combination of the AV Pro and now Lumix coming together, how soon can we see something coming out of Lumix, which is that gap, that gap between?
So that's what I said. We are taking the first step, right? And if you look at any of our products, generally a product would come out after understanding the customer requirements, right? We would not create a product basis some understanding of ours about the customer requirement. It's the other way around.
Yes.
We go talk to the customers, understand their pain points, and the new product which comes out generally addresses the pain points of the customers which is existing at that point in time. So first step we've taken to ensure that the entire thing comes under a single umbrella, which would start from 1st of April. And then hopefully very soon, once we've reached a point where we feel that now we are good enough to really start working on a product to come out with a product which basically addresses both the sides of the business, then the next product comes out. So right now, very difficult for me to really tell you by when. But one thing's for sure, that if the company started moving in that direction, we should hope that we should have a new product soon.
Very nice. And finally, do we also look at some international collaborations happening with Panasonic and international Panasonic, like, sorry, Lumix India and international creators from Lumix itself?
We will definitely aim for it. Look,
Yeah.
from my standpoint, I've had a discussion with Panasonic Australia and Brazil recently, in this week itself. And they have also shown their inclination in creating these kind of communities. They are doing in their own respective countries. I think the next step should be, once we have five or six such countries, taking this initiative a little further, then would be the next step, wherein we get all these guys together so that we have a larger community
Lovely.
which can address each other's issues.
So there are podcasts called Dare to Dream podcast, and there are dreamers who are daring out in the world. What is your message to them, to this community right now, which is building?
I think most important that it's good to dream, but it's even more important that there has to be a structure and a very clearly defined path to reach it. Basis my experience in life is that if you plan everything in ahead and then do it, that's not possible, right? It's not possible. And I really don't know about others, but I've never planned right in the beginning. But once I've taken a step, then I ensure that I get deep into it and understand the nuances of that business and make sure that I figure out what is it that would make me successful over there, right? So today, I think the world has opened up in a very big way. You have opportunities all around, but then we don't hear so many success stories.
Yeah.
Although we hear a lot of them, but the thing is that we don't get to hear the failures, right? If you are clear about what you want to achieve, and once you've created a path for yourself, I think then it's easy. That's not dreaming, right? That's like working towards your goal. The other thing is that you get into it and then imagine that you would reach there, which is wishful thinking. So I think there is a big difference between the two. Successful people generally would create a path for themselves, be very clear about it, what are the next steps, which is important. And that's what differentiates them from the people who kind of are not successful, because there is a lot of wishful thinking over there. Dreams are there on both the sides, but then one is a structured way of approaching, the other one is wishful thinking.
Lovely.
So that's the difference.
I thank you so much, Vijay San, for being here today and answering so many important questions for the community.
My pleasure.
And it's very rare to see leadership, connecting with the community itself. And me being from the community, it's a great opportunity for me to have you here.
Thank you so much for calling me over here. It's a pleasure talking to you. And I wish you all the luck, and I wish luck to everybody in our community. And hopefully we will be partnering with you, supporting you all the while as you move along, and let's all be successful together. Thank you very much.
So thank you for watching this episode of Dare to Dream. If you have any questions related to this episode or anything in Lumix, you can put in the comments, and of course write us an email. And if you want to see more such episodes, do tell us the people you want to get on this podcast. Thank you for watching. Do like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ciao.